Welcome to Football Discussion Daily. Today's the 24th of April, 2026. My name is Joe, and I'm here with the co-host,
CGO.
CGO, or George. Here's a quick reminder that to like and subscribe us. We release long form on YouTube every day and short form on Instagram and TikTok. There's been a couple, there's not a lot of results today in terms of big clubs, big competitions. There's a lot to come over the next month. But some smaller news that George and I will talk about. Lamine Yamal has been ruled out for the rest of the season. But he's still likely to come back for the World Cup. We have Sunderland. There's been a news story. I don't know how much legit it is that they might sack their manager if they do not qualify for Europe. There's been more noise about Pep Guardiola potentially stepping down at the end of the season. And the leading candidate, if that were to happen, according to the rumors, is Enzo Maresca. And of course, there's even more noise about Elliot Anderson from Nottingham Forest potentially stepping up or potentially signing for Manchester City. So, George, the first element of that, Lamine Yamal out for the season, back to the World Cup. I don't know how much this impacts things because Barcelona, I think, would need a crazy bottle. I don't think they need Lamine Yamal to win the league. And good for him. He's back to the World Cup. And Barcelona, I think they're out of all the other competitions. So I don't know how much this impacts how big this is. Do you have thoughts?
No, Joe. The truth is, Yamal is a very key player in the Barcelona team because imagine a player who, in 28 La Liga games this season, he has scored 16 goals, provided 11 assists, and then in the Champions League, which they were knocked out of, he played 10 games. He was able to score 6 goals and provided 4 assists. That's a player with great quality.
George, no one's debating the quality. I'm saying that Barcelona is 9 points up with 6 games to go. They've barely dropped points all season, and they need basically 3 losses in order to maybe lose La Liga. I think Yamal, that just isn't going to happen.
Well, the issue is that since there are few games to end the season, it's very, very likely they will see it through. But remember, there's still a Clásico, which they still have to play. And you know the way the Barcelona fans and the Real Madrid fans take this game very serious. They will always want the very best to feature in that game because of bragging right. So it's not about winning the league. Winning the league, they will definitely win it because just a few games. That bragging right is so important to a Barcelona fan. So that's one game they will likely miss him for, which I'm sure they will not be happy with. That's just the point I'm just trying to make because they have a very important game against Real Madrid, which they would like to win just to show superiority. So that game they are going to miss him for sure. So that's the game I think a lot of Barcelona fans will be very they will wish he is available to play. That's just the thing.
We'll see though. I mean, I still think Barcelona have a pretty good chance. I think Barcelona's midfield can control games better. I think that who knows what happened. Real Madrid's been a bit of a mess this season, and at the end of the day, Real Madrid's going to end up trophyless for the second straight season. That has not happened in a very long time, and Real Madrid can brag about one game all they want. I think Barcelona has at least the last 2 seasons. It is certainly on top right now.
That's why you see that currently Real Madrid are shopping for an experienced coach that can come in and transform things for them. The likes of Jose Mourinho are in the picture. We also have other coaches like Jurgen Klopp who are also being considered to take over the job.
George, those are laughably. I mean, Klopp is not going to go there. That is like some people on Twitter have said Klopp might go there. There's no credible sources. It is like the antithesis of what the type of clubs Klopp goes for, the type of atmosphere Klopp goes for. He is not going there. Jose Mourinho is floated out so he can get more money. I really highly doubt that happens as well. It just really unlikely given the profile of teams he's gone after.
So if you are saying that you doubt if Mourinho will go there, agent George Mendes has spoken to Real Madrid that Jose Mourinho will be available if they want him. Is it when you say that you don't think that will happen? Is it from the Madrid side or from the Jose Mourinho side? Because Jose Mourinho is open to going to Real Madrid. The only
Yeah.
issue is maybe Real Madrid might not want him. That's the only thing.
Is there anything about what Jose Mourinho has accomplished since his second Chelsea stint? Since he won the title, he won a great title in 2014-15. He's won a little bit the last 10 years, but like, has he really been that impressive of a manager the last 10 years? Like, he was in Roma, he was in Fenerbahce, now he's in Portugal.
But, but,
Like,
but in Roma, he won the Conference League with Roma.
yeah, he
So,
did win
so
the Conference League.
yeah.
I mean, and yeah, I did see him. I actually saw him in person in Rome. But you know, his league form the last 10 years has not been great. I just feel that I don't see that happening, and if it does happen, I don't see it ending well. I do feel like the game has gone by Jose a bit, and that I think Fiorentino Perez knows this, and that Mendes is trying to get more.
And Joe, when he was in Manchester United, remember when they played the Europa League, Jose Mourinho played the final. Almost half of the team were on clutches, and
Yeah,
yet he won the trophy. So Mourinho is a serial winner. The issue is that the clubs he has coached in the last, let's say, 5 years are not top clubs. So you don't expect him to perform magic. I still believe if he has opportunity to coach a top club, is somebody that every other team will be wary of. That's one thing. We might say maybe he has lost touch with the current way football management is being uh, done at this moment. But I still believe Jose Mourinho is a good coach because we can see what he's doing with Benfica. Since he got to Benfica, he hasn't lost any game. So credit must go to him for doing that. He has currently Benfica are in second place in the Portuguese league. So for me, Jose Mourinho he still has those quality to coach a club and achieve success. That's what I feel.
He's still only won 4 trophies in the last 10 years. He got run out of several clubs, George. I mean, I personally think that the game has gone by him and it will not end well. But that we will absolutely see what happens, George. This is why we can respectfully disagree. I'd love to know what the viewers think. George,
Apart
let's
from
move on. George, let's
okay,
move on to the next thing about Pep leaving. I mean, this has been rumored for years. Like every single season, it's like Pep might leave. Pep might leave. He's been at Manchester City since 2016, I believe. So it's been a full 10 years this summer. He has won the league in, not including this year, 6 of the 9 years he's been here. If he wins this year, it's 7 out of 10,
yes,
which is a
yes, yes.
very impressive record. Conti took one off of him. Klopp took one, and Arne Slot took one. And so he's a very impressive record. He has won Champions Leagues. He has had a crazy record in the domestic cup, even better than some of these one team leagues. He has been wonderful in the FA Cup and League Cup. But who knows? Maybe he's ready for a new challenge. Maybe he's tired. He has been like by far the best manager in terms of success the last 20 years. The rumor is that Enzo Maresca is the one who might come in. He was an assistant at the club before he started at Leicester. Very familiar with the ins and outs. George, do you feel like there's any validity to the fact that Pep might step down?
The way I'm looking at it, I think what Pep Guardiola plans to do is I think he has the target of possibly winning the seventh Premier League title. And after doing that, there's that high chance that he would like to leave the club with his head very high. A guy who has won 6 Premier League titles came in to win the seventh one. He has won the FA Cup, I think 3 times. He has won the EFL Cup, which is the Carabao Cup. He has won it, I think, on 5 occasions. He has won the Community Shield with Manchester City. He has won the Champions League. He has won the UEFA Super Cup. He has won the FIFA World Cup. So he is somebody who has achieved a lot. So I think what he's targeting is to possibly win his fourth FA Cup and then win his seventh, which means if he's able to achieve these two stuff, that means he has won a treble this season. And the way I'm seeing it, he might like to take a bow and possibly go for another sabbatical just to go and take some rest. That's what I foresee uh, Pep Guardiola would likely do. The issue again there is that a lot of people don't give this guy the credit he deserves. What you keep hearing is that, oh, he spends so much money. We've seen lots of coaches who spend so much. At the end of the day, They couldn't achieve any success.
I remember watching Barcelona in 2007, 2008, the season before he got there. They had Ronaldinho, they had Deco, they had many good players. And then watching more or less the same team the next year with 8 of the same 11 starters, being a completely different team. The 2008 2009 is one of the best teams I've ever seen in my entire life. They won the treble in Pep's first year. They were exceptional. He got rid of Ronaldinho and Deco, which I thought was a ridiculous move. People remember Ronaldinho as like all-star because he was, but Deco was also a very, very good player. Pep, I think the amount of times he's reinvented himself, just at Manchester City, but also within Bayern Munich, yes, he's gotten the talent, but he's still completely reinvented himself and stayed ahead of these coaches. One of the reasons I feel like Slot has declined is because he has not been able to reinvent Liverpool with all these new players. Arteta has not been able to reinvent Arsenal as well the last couple of years. He has one system that works very well, but there's times where if a team can execute against it, Arteta struggles. Pep always manages to completely reinvent his teams over a year, 2-3 year period. And the best version of Manchester City in 2018 to 2020 or so, 2017 2019 or so was absolutely exceptional. I think they got 199 points in 2 years, just absolutely exceptional.
But the reality is that this guy is, I think, is one of the best coaches we've had in the last 2 decades, if you ask me, because the way he's so creative, trying to reinvent the way football is being played. Because if you look at it very well, this issue of playing from the back, Guardiola made it very popular. And then we started seeing other coaches trying to imitate the way he plays. Everybody now wants to start playing from the back. For me, I see Guardiola as a professor when it comes to a game of football. He has done a lot, and I feel he deserves a lot of credit. When I see people criticizing him unnecessarily, I don't think that's the best. You don't need to like him as a person, but we must give credit to who credit deserves. That guy has really done a lot to football, and he deserves
He's
every
done
credit.
a lot of innovations, like the whole fact of like a false nine was him. The fact inverted wingers. I mean, sorry, false nines existed before Pep. They were not ubiquitous before Pep. Same with inverted wingers. So, Messi played on the right so he could shoot with his left, and the focus of a wide forward being scoring, and the focus of the center forward being drawing defenders out of position. Pep really, his innovations in that space really fluctuated throughout Europe, went all the way throughout Europe, reverberated throughout Europe. His, I think that he does not get enough credit for how he's redeveloped the press. He was not as nearly as maybe influential as Klopp or some other managers, but the way that Barcelona team initially, especially initially in big games, tried to win back the ball initially after doing it, how they managed their minutes and said based on the game situation they didn't press or did based on how important it was for their goals for that season because he knew players couldn't manage that for all season. His managing of Lionel Messi, I think that he Lionel Messi was always going to be great. I think Pep definitely gave him that edge to get greater, as in the same sense that Ronaldo was influenced by Alex Ferguson, an all-time great manager in his developmental years. Pep was just so good.
So do you think Enzo Maresca will be a good replacement for Pep Guardiola if he eventually leaves Manchester City this at the end
I
of the
think
season?
I think Manchester City is one of the best run clubs in terms of their leadership from the top down. I think they know more about Enzo Maresca than I do. I think if they say that he's the guy, he's the guy. They've actually been very patient with their managers before Pep. So the two managers they hired was Mark Hughes and
We had
Mancini.
that is
Who
this Italian manager called
That's what I said, Mancini. And
yeah, Mancini. Yeah.
I think that both of those guys probably got a little bit maybe too much time. And I do think that Maresca will have the patience. They will not have the high pressure of expectations to win the league. I think that the leadership of Manchester City and the fan base understands that this is the golden era. They will not be winning 7 titles every 10 years going forward, and that Pep is it. Yeah, the next manager will not be as good as Pep. I think that they're in a much better situation than Ferguson leaving Man United. I think the better situation is probably Klopp leaving Liverpool in terms of if this happens, they're in a pretty good spot to succeed. They definitely have several core pieces that the next manager is going to have a lot of fun with and be able to be pretty creative with.
So, Joe, don't you think part of the reasons why Enzo Maresca is being favored to take over from Pep Guardiola when he leaves Manchester City is based on the fact that Enzo Maresca understands the culture of the club because he was once an assistant coach to Pep Guardiola, and then maybe based on the fact that they want continuity, he wanted somebody who understands the club culture. Don't you think that's the reason why he's being tipped to take over?
Could be anything. I do think Maresca is a good coach. I think that Chelsea as a club is very difficult to succeed in right now. I've said this; it's almost impossible to succeed in, and Maresca did about as well as anybody could have hoped for. I mean, he qualified for Champions League last year. Probably was going to this year. He won a Club World Cup. I really think that I think when all this is dust settles in terms of this era of Chelsea, I think Maresca will be by far the most successful manager. And I think there will be a very great reflection on what his abilities are. At Leicester, obviously, who won the league. And I think the championship is people underrate how difficult it is to win in that league. I rate Maresca as a coach and Man City leadership. I think he's been great. So what about you, George? Do you think what you've seen at Chelsea? Do you feel like he is ready? I mean, I see him also can manage egos. I think the dressing room largely respected him.
No, see, let me tell you, Enzo Maresca, when you look at the way he managed Chelsea, you will see some kind of similarity the way Guardiola manages players at Man City and the way Enzo Maresca does the same. Because even when he left, you will notice that most of the players at Chelsea were not happy. They love the guy, they love the way it relates with player, the way he manages the team. So there are some kind of similarity the way he handles player with the way Pep Guardiola manages players, and that's one thing that gives me some kind of um, confidence that if he gets to Manchester City, there's that high chances that he's going to succeed, considering the fact that he will also have that kind of more freedom compared to when he was at Chelsea. Because at Man City, the coach is giving some freedom to get the kind of quality of players he wants, unlike at Chelsea where you are restricted from doing certain things as a coach. So the system makes it a bit difficult for you as a manager to succeed. So
There's a
if he
lot more
was able to
trust.
succeed under that kind of stringent and very unfriendly environment, winning the Conference League, winning the World FIFA Club World Cup, and also qualifying Chelsea for the Champions League, I feel that if he finds himself in a Manchester City club where you have more freedom to operate as a coach, I think he's most likely to succeed.
And you have more support, I think, as well. Like the freedom part is nice, but it is more support, it's more structured. There's more. I think the big thing is that city leaders hold themselves accountable when they're wrong. Like, and I think there's been a couple instances where they've signed the wrong player, and Pep is, um, you know, behind closed doors. I'm sure they're self-reflective and looking at how they can always improve in terms of their signing, their scouting, their player development, things like that. And in a way that Chelsea is not, and maybe Chelsea will get there. I don't know, but right now these sporting directors are making mistakes at Chelsea and not holding themselves accountable. And I just feel like Chelsea, that Manchester City is a much healthier culture. And part of the rumor of Maresca leaving in January was the fact that he was talking about potentially taking over Manchester City this summer. That was one of the rumors. He did specifically call out, I want an experienced center back, but I don't know if this has been confirmed, but a rumor that has come from some credible sources have said that Maresca was talking to Chelsea, Man City in January. That's one of the reasons he left. So makes sense.
So it's most likely when Guardiola leaves, he will be the one to take over the helm of affairs at Manchester City. That's the way it's looking very likely. That's what will happen.
There's been some other names thrown out there. Vincent Company and Xabi Alonso will both be very interesting to see. I doubt Company leaves this summer, but it is a name that's been thrown out there. So we'll see. All right, George. Let me close out with our standard questions. Number one: is Jose Mourinho still a top manager? George thinks he is. I don't think he is. Number two: Lamine Yamal. Is Barcelona still capable of beating Real Madrid without Lamine Yamal? Are they still capable of generating offense? Let me know your thoughts. And number three, is Enzo Maresca a good replacement for Pep? And number four, do you think that there's a good chance that Pep might leave this summer? Let us know your thoughts, and thank you for listening.